Well, hasn't even been a week since the last launch disaster. I said that actually with Jedi Survivor when the next one would be, and yeah, here we are. The AAA games industry, very good at consistently disappointing, unfortunately. The state of Redfall is dire right now. The reviews have been an absolute bloodbath, and it looks deserved. I've played this game for a couple of hours, and I don't really think I want to play this any bit more. It's pretty much Far Cry, but a much worse Far Cry, which is saying something, especially with the criticisms that I've made of Ubisoft in the past. Arkane they've been known for some stellar single-player experiences in the past, but this was a massive misfire for a studio that seems like they wasted their resources on something that they should not have done at all. And this points to my issue with Xbox and their leadership. Their hands-off approach, what they've been taking, is not working. I don't know if Phil Spencer, whoever's in charge, they have to do a better job at this, because this is becoming the norm with Game Pass. This is the expectation that everybody is having, and that is not a good thing. It's been about 15 years since the golden era of the Xbox 360. There's a whole generation of younger people who don't even know a good age of Xbox, which is that's saying something. But even before Redfall came out, I had mixed expectations. That's the big difference between the whole Jedi Survivor mess, which we've been talking about for the last week. That looked like a great game. Redfall always looked like a very not good game. From the gameplay, the trailers, everything that we have seen. And then there's obviously the whole 30 FPS controversy, and it's hilarious that there was actual game copies which say 60 frames per second, so clearly that was a last minute, we can't do 60 FPS, and they've been putting stickers on the game saying 60 FPS performance mode not available at launch, which that's so embarrassing. And it points to this game needing a delay. And from what I have played, and from what all reviewers are saying, this game definitely needed a lot more time in the oven, but it was pushed out unfinished, incomplete. Just the norm of this industry, unfortunately. Ultimately, though, one thing is clear. Bethesda knew that they had a dud on their hands. They did some interesting things with the marketing before release, and that was just not having any reviews before launch. The actual reviews for Redfall went up when players could actually access the game. That points to them knowing that, we're gonna have some chaos on our hands. And OpenCritic actually pushed back on some people saying that Bethesda just does this all the time. They pointed out that Deathloop, they had an embargo 12 hours before release. Doom Eternal had one 3 days before. Ghostwire Tokyo 4 days before. So Bethesda knew what they were doing here. They are the publisher. But even then, it does appear that there was some miscommunication that happened between reviewers and Bethesda, because some reviews did go up live early. We had NoisyPixel.net publish this review, which this is where red flags started to emerge. Redfall is an anomaly because a game with this good of a team behind it can't possibly be this bad, and yet it is. There are these strips of looter shooter RPG and multiplayer elements sprinkled throughout, but none of them work together, delivering a messy and almost incomprehensible experience. That is something, well, that's the widespread consensus that we're seeing across this industry about Redfall. And we also had ACG. He accidentally published his review early, and again, this tagline, one of the worst games so far in 2023. Again, this comes just a couple of days after Jedi Survivor was being called one of the worst PC ports of 2023, and yet here we are.
Redfall feels confused, old, and unfinished. Worse yet, it's in a head-on race with Star Wars Jedi and Last of Us PC port to see who can have the buggiest game in 2023. Let me say this, Redfall has so many bugs for more than 2 hours we thought one of the bugs was a feature we just hadn't discovered yet. Despite a game about vampires versus mankind, Redfall's largest battle is with itself, and with dueling philosophies that never come together. Does it want to be a 4-player looter shooter kind of title? And if it does, its options, presentation, and flexibility go directly against old and new classics in that genre.
And that's the thing with a lot of these looter shooter live service games. They ultimately are trying to chase after multiple audiences. We saw this with another Bethesda published game, Fallout 76. Bethesda wanted to still have that storytelling narrative content there, while also having that looter shooter, combat focus, and it just didn't work. It didn't mesh together. Marvel's Avengers is another game you could bring up with this, and really all of the live service dumpster fires that we've seen. Most of them have that identity crisis.
Or does it want to be a narrative-driven, deep world? And in that way, it strangely finds itself looking into a mirror, and instead of seeing no reflection like vampires themselves, it sees all of the older siblings in the form of Arkane's prior titles. And it's just a bloated, unrelenting mess.
Yeah, and that's this review right here is as brutal as it gets. And Bethesda went on a tirade. They went around deleting and getting rid of all of these leaked reviews before the actual launch of the game. It doesn't make any difference. They couldn't hide that this game was an absolute mess, because here we are now, and the reviews 66 on OpenCritic. I thought mid 70s. This is horrific. Only 28% of critics are recommending this game, and that's the story on Metacritic as well. A 62 based off of 18 critic reviews on PC. The Series X, it's 28 reviews, a 64. That's not good. And then the reviews, it's as bad as it gets. More like dreadful, as Arkane hands in one of the year's sloppiest games, a 2 out of 5. Games Radar giving the game a 2.5 out of 5. Feels rushed, unfinished, and unsatisfying. Not even awesome vampires and world design can redeem Redfall's repetitive gameplay, which becomes progressively more monotonous the longer you play. The pros: cool vampire and character designs, interesting world, limited story, unincentivized co-op, repetitive mission structures, and buggy. And we also had further reviews: good enough for Game Pass, and that's just a horrible indictment on the state of Game Pass in 2023 and the need for Xbox to deliver. The pressure really is on Starfield. Bethesda, Xbox, they cannot afford another dud release. And these are further reviews. GameSpot, a 4 out of 10. Fun characters with strong skill-based chemistry. Bugs, the studio's usual keen eye for world design isn't there. Loot system seems underdeveloped. Interesting lore is washed away by poor delivery. Enemy AI is deeply flawed and imbalanced. Another review giving it a 5 out of 10. Runs well on both platforms. Nice aesthetics and art design. The cons aggressively average in almost every way. Another review from, I think this is a GameSpot reporter, saying, as a big Arkane liker, playing Redfall was heartbreaking. The pieces of something interesting are there, but so are the signs that an ambitious idea was stripped down to something functional, and it often doesn't manage that. And even on Reddit from users, we're seeing the same sentiment shared. This is shockingly bad. I got this game for free after buying a new graphics card, so I don't really have any expectations, but holy crap, the game looks and plays like a PS3 game made 13 years ago or so. I would actually say probably 15 years ago. It looks extremely dated for reasons. I had to go look back at some of the other gameplay for Deathloop and Prey, and I just don't know what happened here. I don't know why it looks so downgraded, why it looks so dated. If I had to say, it's because of the multiplayer side of things, but you would expect that 60 FPS would be something that's easily possible with how it looks. It just seems like there was an absolute mess happening behind the scenes in developing this game. But this person goes on to say the fact that they are charging $70 is insane. And again, there has been a problem with people not buying games as much because of the fact that you're increasing these games and the actual quality of these experiences are not getting better. If you're going to expect people to go out and spend extra money on these games, $70 plus tax, they want the game to be stable day one. That is not happening, and that is something that this industry is going to have to grapple with sooner rather than later. The graphics are bad, the AI is horrible, the gameplay is mediocre at best. Just wow at the state of gaming nowadays, a feeling that a lot of people have. So sad to see a great developer who gave us games like Prey and Dishonored reduced to this. Yeah. And then even on Steam, the negative reviews are starting to pour in. Right now it has a mostly negative rating, 28% only giving this a positive score. And yeah, these are some very detailed reviews, but why do developers think they can charge $70 for games like this? I'd love to know the answer, honestly, because the quality certainly isn't going up. The fact that I would drop, freeze, and even have stutter frames up to 20 to 30, connectivity issues, again, it goes on and on. A lot of people giving very detailed accounts of the bugs and issues that they're encountering on PC here. Next-gen gaming starter pack, same or even worse graphic fidelity than old-gen games, abysmal optimization, $70 to $90 price tag for a mid and unfinished game, apology statement after releasing game in a broken state. After months of patching, nothing improves. You know that's going to happen. You know that we're going to see a Bethesda statement probably tomorrow saying, we're so sorry about the launch. You guys encountered all kinds of issues that we did not expect. This launch didn't meet our expectations, but we're working on fixes. It's the cycle of this industry, and it's going to keep on happening until people vote with their wallets. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but Xbox really has to get their shit together, because in my eyes that is completely unacceptable, and I really do think the pressure needs to be put on Phil Spencer and his leadership team to actually do things. I've been talking about how I hope Activision Blizzard, if that acquisition actually goes through, that there's, you know, the environment, the game quality with Blizzard increases, but I don't know if that's going to happen under this team, because they have not shown that with Bethesda. All of the things I thought that would improve, nothing really has happened yet. And kind of concerning if they can't manage over the studios that they own right now. What makes anybody think that they're going to be able to manage over Activision Blizzard, which has like another like 20 or so studios? But yeah, it's a bloodbath in these reviews, just like it is on Metacritic with all of the review scores. We also have all kinds of issues that are emerging on various platforms. We have this individual saying, so Redfall, where to begin? I'm sad to say the game clearly needed more time in the oven. 30 FPS is the least of the game's problems on Xbox. Let's see. Yeah, the AI is just... How does somebody playtest this at Bethesda Arkane and think that this is okay to release? The AI is so brain dead. I have actually some clips from my time just briefly playing it, in which the AI, the vampires are getting stuck by the door, they can't move past it. And then I also have characters not appearing at all. It's just, this is so embarrassing for Bethesda and Xbox to let this happen. And again, there's so many other issues that players are running into. Delvrith pointing out Redfall deleted my character, and he was the actual host, and they deleted his character. Again, this is going to have to be solved in patches. Somebody in Reddit showing their time with the game.
Yes.
Some stellar animations there, I'll say. Continuing on.
You never sent that to me afterwards.
Oh yeah, I gotta send that.
Brain dead AI again. This is the story with Redfall. We got characters T-posing, it looks like. And then this is something that was going viral all day, in which, yeah, we got characters just floating around. NPCs. Unfortunate, again. I think this person has music attached, but again, the AI is so dumb that even I was playing on like the basic difficulty, but I was very confused on why it was so easy, because the vampires are so fucking stupid that they can't properly attack you, and these cultists are no threat at all. Look how slow that they are to react. It's so bad. Yeah, we'll continue on. These clips, it's just...
Good thing I have my spin move. And the thing that they don't have
yeah.
die move. A good thing.
Yeah, the AI just can't react to us spinning around them. That's something that I noticed right when I played my first vampire encounter, actually. I was circling around in a garage and couldn't attack me at all. And this user furthermore points out in a thread of just more AI issues. Yeah, you can see this individual, it's just so slow. The vampires here just aren't reacting how they should. You know, this should be a very intense situation, but again, if you can spin around, shoot a couple of enemies, this ruins the looter-shooter experience. And again, the story isn't the focus here, it's the combat, the enemies, and it's not working at all. This is a broken game yet again for this industry, and a very big issue for Xbox and Bethesda. As Jez points out, I kind of feel like Xbox has this generalized issue of, rather than iterating on games in development, using curated fan feedback, they just ship them out to die unfinished, unready. Xbox is not in a position to be able to keep doing this. And you know what's going to happen. Bethesda and Arkane are probably going to try to fix this up for the coming months, and it's going to be a waste of time because it's too little too late. And then we also had Ryan McCaffrey of IGN pointing to something I talked about earlier on this video. The Xbox 360 glory days were long enough ago, now that there's an entire generation of gamers who weren't even alive for / were too young for it. It's never been cool to them like it was to us. If you're Microsoft, that's a really big problem to overcome. Only A+ games can fix it, and yet all we keep on getting is Redfall. Obviously, it is great that Xbox can deliver these more smaller scale, smaller budget games, and they have good quality, like a Psychonauts 2 or a Hi-Fi Rush. But these bigger scale projects, the Halo Infinites, the Starfields, the Redfalls, they're not delivering right now, and there's a need for that. And that's why the pressure is on Starfield later this year to be great, and I just don't know if it will be. And then after that, hopefully Fable ends up being good, hopefully Perfect Dark as well. But those games have had rumored problems during the development process, so that's why my overall point is that Phil Spencer and his leadership team have to change things up. I don't know if that means there needs to be a leadership shakeup. I think Matt Booty oversees the Xbox studios, but something has to change. That's my overall perspective on this situation that we're seeing right now. Overall in this industry, I made this joke a couple of days ago, but I'll end the video here with this. The AAA games industry will surely learn from yet another horrendous game launch. There's no way they'll let this become normalized. They'll better understand the value of players' time and money, and yet, no, not at all. We didn't even make a week since Jedi Survivor's horrible launch, because nobody cares in this industry. They think they can get away with this, they think they can fix this shit later, and that unfortunately is kind of true because a lot of people have become normalized this behavior. I get a lot of people just want to say it's the gamer's fault, it's the people who are spending money, but again, the industry just keeps on doing this, that people just expect this and they're like, okay, well, they'll fix it in a couple of patches later, but I think it's a big problem that so many people can't even play these games day one because of the issues, because of the fact that they're not stable enough. And the industry, will it ever learn from that? I highly doubt it, but here we are again with yet another launch disaster in the form of Redfall, a live service looter shooter mess that we'll have to deal with until Bethesda and Arkane inevitably attempt to fix it in the coming weeks and months. But have you played Redfall? What do you make of the experience? And what do you hope from Bethesda and Xbox in the future? Let me know down in the comment section below. But thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or if you found any informative value. And consider subscribing for more videos like this. And I'll see you later.